Chapter 17, Chemistry Principle Number 10. She'll appreciate personalized dates. This is a chemistry principle that seems like common sense, but I like to leave as little to chance as possible. She's just going to have a better time, and each of the other principles will work better if you indulge her and take her on a date that involves something she enjoys. Duh. This is meant to show you have listened to her and put extra thought into putting together a date that is tailored, unique, and personal to her. You're also able to make her enjoy one of her passions or interests in a new and novel way, which is valuable. The idea is to incorporate her interest into a fun date for both of you. Note that this does not mean to pander to her, to pretend that you like the same things she does, or to spoil her. Don't make it a gesture just for the sake of acknowledging one of her interests, because then it becomes all too obvious that you are just doing it for the brownie points. Examples. 1. If she likes dogs, drop by the SPCA or donate to them in her name. 2. If she likes football, take her to a local high school game and act like teenagers. 3. If she likes cooking, take an exotic cooking class together or do Iron Chef sequel challenges. 4. If she likes cars, pay a garage to give her a lesson on changing her oil, or teach her yourself. 5. If she likes running, take her to a trainer to get her stride analyzed. 6. If she likes singing, take her to a karaoke bar or open mic night. 7. If she likes fine dining, hire a chef to come cook for you two at home. 8. If she likes hiking, take her to the market to make trail mix for your upcoming hike. These all tend to work better as surprises. Note that these are not dates where the activity she enjoys is the focus, which would be pandering. They tend to be educational for the activity in question. Practice tip: take out a sheet of paper and write down 10 things she likes. If she hasn't told you 10 things, find out from what she owns, buys, eats, where she goes, etc. Then write 3 activities for each item that involves the item she likes. Like above, if she likes dogs, visit the SPCA, sit on a bench overlooking a dog park, or take a coffee break outside of a pet groomer's office. What she'll think:
I was so surprised. He really understands me and managed to make it so fun for both of us. He is a great listener and super thoughtful.
Chapter 18, Chemistry Principle Number 11. She'll love boundary-pushing dates. Ever hear of the foxhole friendship? Sometimes known as the boot camp bond. It's the type of bond that is formed by going through hardships and adversity together, and is used mostly in the context of war and soldiers for obvious reasons. But lesser and different forms of the foxhole friendship exist in every walk of life. For example, even if you don't know them very well, an undeniable bond exists between teammates after grueling workouts, teammates after winning a hard-fought championship, neighbors under a tyrannical landlord, and co-workers under a Dilbert sequel boss. The common thread here isn't that they are negative events, rather that they are superlative events. They can be the craziest, coolest, hardest, weirdest, funniest, worst, most thrilling or confusing events, as long as it's something you can laugh and talk about afterwards. It forms a mini version of the foxhole friendship and brings you two closer instantly because it is a world that literally no one else can understand and that she only shares with you. Engaging in a superlative activity is also a great way to demonstrate your vulnerability and to show that you just want to have fun and don't care what others think. Point of clarification: you can feel free to choose things that make you look terrible, but not humorless or mean-spirited. So how can you take advantage of this bond? As the chemistry principle states, we can use boundary-pushing dates to foster the foxhole friendship. Just make sure you're not completely crossing her boundaries or violating chemistry principle number 10 by doing something she honestly just hates. Examples: 1. An actual boot camp class. 2. Confronting fears like scary movies, heights, the dark, public speaking, snakes, balloons, etc. 3. Paintball. 4. A grueling race. 5. Taking a walk tour that is 3 miles longer than you thought, and in weather 15 degrees hotter than you thought it would be. 6. Seeing a truly terrible movie. 7. Being served by the most rude waiter in the world. 8. Something you're both terrible at so you can laugh together. 9. Something you're both great at and can compete at or against. 10. Any class, the less you know, the better. 11. Learning to ride bikes if you both can't. 12. A painfully early hike to see a sunrise. 13. Playing catch the rain on a muddy field. The two of you have to match in your perception of the date. You both have to think it was a superlative activity, or there is no foxhole friendship and no shared bond. What she'll think:
We got through it together. I feel so close to him after sharing it with only him. He can make any situation better. I'm going to smile every time I think about it and him.
Chapter 19. Chemistry Principle number 12. Unique should be a given. Unique dates have been the goal for guys since the word was invented. At least a unique location, activity, or event. Everyone wants to stand out, and flashing some of your obscure expertise is a natural way to do so. And, of course, no one wants to do the same thing ad nauseum. Our inclination towards uniqueness is because we know that it almost always generates positive reactions. We also instinctually know that the absence of anything unique is boredom. A unique date is always a plus in the grand scheme of creating chemistry, and gives us a higher floor and ceiling to start with, low risk and even higher rewards. This is the chemistry principle that probably needs the least explaining, and where the examples are most important. This chemistry principle also ties in nicely with a few others because it gives you a shared experience that will presumably make her excited and is easily bold and conversational. Examples: 1. Geocaching. 2. Riding segways like tourists. 3. A scavenger hunt around the apartment. 4. Night hikes. 5. The circus. 6. $1 storecraft projects. 7. Hand or body painting. 8. Urban exploration. 9. Drunk Jenga. 10. Making costumes for each other based on a movie you watched together. 11. Watching planes take off near the airport. 12. Iron Chef-style cooking competitions. 13. Cooking Ethiopian food or some other food you both have no idea about. 14. Building pillow and blanket forts and declaring war on each other. 15. Paddle boating and feeding ducks at a local body of water. 16. Going to a shooting range. 17. Renting a scooter, moped together. 18. At-home wine tasting. 19. Blind food tasting tests. 20. No hands pie eating contest. What she'll think:
This guy is not like the rest. I can't wait to tell my friends about this date and how creative and unique he is. There won't be a boring moment with him.
Chapter 20. Chemistry Principle number 13. Your life is a series of mini stories. A big part of my work as an image coach focuses on discovering what kind of image you want to cultivate to the world, then curating your experiences to project it. Finding the right stories and experiences from your life to inject into conversation is where this begins. This falls right in with the other communication chemistry principles. Stories are an inside view to your personality, emotions, passions. Learning those about you is the first step in allowing a woman to relate and feel connected to you. So, it's imperative that you learn how to take a close-ended question and expand it to your advantage. This is going to require you taking a mental survey of the aspects of yourself that you want to highlight. Then, and making sure that it's something that is objectively attractive. To make that distinction clear, it's the difference between being proud of your video game prowess and being proud of your new artwork. By absolutely no coincidence, many of the questions I present in my other books, namely the Did She Reply Yet series, are great ways to utilize mini stories and show positive aspects of your personality. So what do you do? I'm a marketing executive. It's pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
Let's try again. So what do you do? I'm a marketing executive. I deal mostly with clients. Just last week, we had a crazy client that threatened to send his bodyguards to our office. I definitely wish I dealt more with the creative side. Oh my God, did he actually send them? See how the second example contains so much more substance for her to connect with. To avoid interview mode and make conversation flow more smoothly, the next natural step in the conversation above is to organically talk about the crazy client and other funny aspects of work, instead of awkwardly playing, "Now, how about you?" I implore you to queue up similar mini-stories, less than 3 sentences, for some of the most common conversation topics that will arise, such as 1. Your occupation. 2. Your week. 3. Your upcoming weekend. 4. Your hometown. 5. Your hobbies. 6. Your favorite music. 7. Your passions. 8. Your education. 9. Your apartment house. 10. Your mutual friends. 11. Your dating history. 12. Your experience with the venue you're at. 13. The weather. 14. Your family. 15. Your pet. As you can see from my example, don't just answer the question directly. Make it a mini story that can stand by itself. Again, check if they portray you to be what you want as your image. Just don't get too personal, negative, or controversial, and don't dominate the conversation. What she'll think.
Conversation was so smooth with him. We could have talked all night. He was so interesting, and it's quite the personality. He's like no other.
Chapter 21, Chemistry Principle number 14. Love is your ultimate goal. In my experience as a professional dating and image coach, most people play the game wrong. To try and win a woman over, they use artificial means to decrease how much interest they show in her, in adherence to the general theory that most people want things they can't have. Sure, don't smother a woman or text her 10 times a night, but I disagree with the tactics that most people use. The 3-day rule among others. They end up causing misunderstandings, drama, and are generally an immature way of interacting. Demonstrating your interest in a woman and in a potential long-term relationship is an essential component of chemistry. Studies have shown that women crave affection and often only reciprocate their feelings when they have it. Done correctly, you will also pique her curiosity to the possibility and make her envision that future with you. And envisioning is the first step to reality. So don't disguise your interest for her or make your intentions ambiguous, but make sure you do it in a subtle and nonchalant way, indirectly or offhand in some manner. The idea is to plant the seed for her to fixate on and overanalyze in her spare time, as people do. I'll repeat the previous paragraph for emphasis. There's a thin line you must tread here. Don't make it a topic of conversation. Don't overdo it. Don't dwell on it. Examples. 1. Bringing up date ideas for the next week or month. 2. Telling her you're excited or happy to see her. 3. Talking about compatibility with her. 4. Telling her you miss her. 5. Use future-facing sentences like, when we do X. 6. Mentioning that you're interested in settling down. 7. Integrating her into your friend circle. 8. Adopting a plant or fish together. 9. Discussing near and long-term future goals. 10. Telling her you like her. Every year, you will find a lot of women worldwide which are thrilled to simply accept a marriage proposal together with an attractive gemstone to wear throughout the holiday season. However, you will find also a lot of women which are sorely disappointed once the holidays have passed, with no proposal or perhaps a ring. Out of this number of women, you will see many wondering precisely how long they have to wait for their males to pop the question. There really aren't any solid rules when it involves this dilemma. That's what causes it to be somewhat hard to know when you should place it out or when you should leave. Granted, you will find some recommendations you can use to gauge whether you're squandering your time on the stalemate relationship, which might be nearly all of the help you'll get with this particular problem. To start with, if you are in a relationship which has gone on for 10 years and he's living with his parents, odds are that you simply will not be obtaining a marriage proposal in the near future. You might as well face the facts. He's in a very comfortable situation. He's had a roof over his mind, will get his laundry done, and the food cooked for minimal cost. Then, he's got you meeting his social and sexual needs. Why must he quit all that and undertake the duties of marriage? That's one extreme of associations. Another happens when you've just met someone and also have only been heading out for a few days. You most likely haven't even had sex yet. In cases like this, you have to wait some time longer before expecting a marriage proposal along with a ring. You're still a great deal in that getting acquainted stage, and there's no need to hurry this part. Now, for couples which have been with one another between 1 to 5 years, it's time to determine where the relationship goes and just what you both want from this. You've had the capacity to become familiar with one another and really should know whether you are interested in investing the rest of your existence together. In case your guy continues to be holding on to the commitment, and also you want the home and picket fence, it's time for you to sit down and also have a wide open and honest conversation about what to do after that. Sure, you will find those rare couples which have been together a month, choose to marry, after which remain happily married for 50 years. That does not happen very frequently, though. It appears to become vital that you become familiar with someone pretty much prior to getting married, instead of after, for the reason that you're sure to possess a wide decision of things you're getting into, the offer and kind of personality you will be coping with. The key factor to keep in mind is the fact that this stuff usually happens when they're designed to. And when the proposal doesn't come inside a reasonable period of time, it most likely wasn't designed to ever happen. What she'll think,
How refreshing it is to see a guy that's straightforward. He doesn't mess around, and he's a guy that knows what he wants. He's genuine, and I know I can trust him not to hurt me.
I realize this goes against many ingrained beliefs about attraction and the game. But the reason this chemistry principle works is because when people are playing the game, they are manipulating their perceived overall availability. However, your perceived overall availability depends on a number of factors, only one of which is your interest in her. The next chemistry principle will address the other factors and exactly how you can demonstrate interest and still win the game. Chapter 22, Chemistry Principle number 15. But independence wins the game. As I began describing the previous chemistry principle, the best way to play the game is not to use artificial means or rules to manipulate your perceived interest in her. I noted how, in fact, this can often work against you, as it can foster drama and misunderstandings, and not take advantage of timing. In actuality, your perceived overall availability is what allows people to play the game effectively, and it is comprised of many factors, only one of which is how much direct interest you show in her. Other factors impacting that include how often you go out with other friends, how many hobbies you engage in, how many other girls you are dating, how busy your job is, any passions you pursue, and essentially any other priorities you might have that would limit your availability. How many times have you heard a woman talk about liking guys with passions and their own lives? People want things and people that they can't have because of the implied mental correlation between unavailability and value. This is, of course, why the rich and powerful have an inherent leg up in dating. So the best way to play the game is to engage in priorities that actually limit your overall availability. If you feel the need to artificially increase the perception of something, let it be about your perceived overall availability, as opposed to flinging ambiguity about your intentions with her. This is the difference between ignoring her because you don't want her to feel your interest and being so busy that she isn't always a top priority. It's going to increase emotions like anticipation, eagerness, and longing for you. This is the one true root of the whole women love assholes rhetoric. As the less available you are to someone, the more attractive you become. In short, when you're engaging in something, you become engaging. Loading up on the priorities has a lot of additional benefits. It firmly puts you in control of your life and schedule, and almost makes being needy and dependent impossible in general. Never will you put a woman on a pedestal again. So many people nowadays rely on whether they're inside a relationship to determine if they're happy or otherwise. This is among the greatest mistakes you could ever allow for both yourself and the way forward for your relationship. You'll discover rather rapidly, when you depend around the actions of the partner to make you content, that the feelings will remain in constant movement, similar to riding a bike. Couples in effective associations appreciate this concept. It normally won't rely on one another for their own individual happiness. Rather, all of them do stuff that they like and means they are happy independently of one another. This is actually the answer to true personal happiness. Do that which you like and get involved with stuff that cause you to feel good and energetic. Don't expect your lover to learn how to help you stay happy. That never calculates. Granted, if you and your partner spouse aren't happy being together, or someone has been doing something to break the connection, it's no shocker that you will feel unhappy relating to this. However, it's the big event that's made you sad or angry, not your lover. Your lover isn't a mind reader and can't tell the key they need to do whatever so occasions to ensure that you'll not be unhappy. It is not realistic, and individuals that meet up with somebody simply because they feel this is exactly what can give them the benefits that they've been passing up on is going to be sorely disappointed. Couples which are individually happy typically finish up making one another happy as partners. Neither of the two has almost anything to prove and just don't spend considerable time hanging out questioning whether they're making their partner happy. They simply enjoy feeling happy and let things place their natural course. That's the best way to keep the relationship relocating the best direction. Someone that's so emotional they take every little comment their partner makes to heart is not going to be thrilled. Fundamental essentials people who are consciously awaiting their partner to see items like a brand new hairdo or outfit. Once the partner doesn't immediately acknowledge the modification, it's blown full scale out of proportion. Provide your partner time for you to measure the new you and also result in the appropriate comments. Stop presuming things relating to your partner. Despite the fact that the two of you possess a lot in keeping, you aren't going to maneuver totally in sync with one another. Provide your partner room to breathe and accept it once they grant you an identical. It's healthy to guide an existence outdoors from the relationship as lengthy as it isn't disturbing the main from the relationship. You're the only person which will make you content. Sure, you are able to state that you're happy to get along with someone, or perhaps that partner enables you to be happy. However, what that does not mean is the fact that you're totally based on your lover to help keep the benefits alive inside you. Be happy and the rest will fall directly into place. Unlike some of the other chemistry principles, there are no real pitfalls to watch out for here. If you take my advice to heart and really focus on developing yourself as an independent and social person, you're probably better off than you were before. Just make sure that you don't come off with a cocky air of, "I'm so busy, whenever shall I fit you into my schedule?" This is a good point to introduce exactly how you can escape the friend zone if you've been wallowing there for a while. Of course, it has to do with independence and playing the game the right way. The first step is to simply disengage from the object of your affection for weeks, if not months. Chances are that you won't miss her friendship very much, because being friends with someone really isn't the same as having a deep friendship. The second step is to just peek in your independence and personal development, so that when you re-engage, you are essentially a new, more attractive person that she hasn't yet experienced or turned down. What she'll think.
There must be something about him. He's confident. He's got so many options and really pursues his interest. He's got so much going on that I'm lucky to be with him.
Chapter 23, Chemistry Principle number 16. Introduce endgames immediately. At some point, no matter how charming you are, you will hit a conversation lull. It's natural, unpreventable, and simply a hallmark of meeting someone new. You've learned the basics about each other, but haven't quite transitioned into fully sharing about your daily lives. You're also still stuck in impressing mode, and not yet relaxed and completely comfortable around each other. Don't panic. One of the great ways to deal with any type of conversation lull is to introduce endgame. The great thing about endgames is that you can use them to break the ice and increase comfort and rapport within 10 minutes of meeting, but also combats lulls and spices things up 5 dates in. So, what's an endgame? Examples: 1. People watching. 2. Making up stories about people around you. 3. Spotting couples on their first date. 4. Bets, races. 5. Dares, challenges. 6. Truth or dare. 7. Playing for prizes from a dollar store. 8. Scavenger hunts. 9. Arm wrestling. 10. Putting fake tattoos on each other. 11. Hide and seek. 12. Punch bug. 13. Pretending to read her palm. 14. Picture bingo. 15. Role playing. 16. Making eye contact before every drink. 17. Assigning nicknames. 18. Reenacting movies. 19. Composing haikus about people you see. 20. Playing human bingo in public. Aside from breaking up silences and injecting some energy into your conversations, there are some powerful psychological effects here. Playing an endgame creates a mindset that is totally and completely focused on the other person. You will be the only thing occupying her mind for the duration of the game, either directly or indirectly. She could be surrounded by people in a crowded mall, but only be thinking about and looking at you. This is going to bring you closer instantly, as it's something only the two of you have shared. Endgames are also amazing natural segues into unique conversation topics and physical flirting. Endgames are almost always appropriate, but don't just run down the list of them. They will appear contrived and gimmicky and like you have nothing of substance to talk about. You have to be able to balance being silly as the endgame demands, but also switching back to serious and substantive when necessary. No one likes a guy that can't be serious. It reeks of immaturity and is just annoying. Endgames can also be surprisingly mentally draining, so don't keep them going for too long or be too insistent on playing. Recognize the natural ending. What she'll think.
How can he make sitting around doing nothing fun? What a great conversationalist. We have so many inside jokes already. He's hilarious.
Chapter 24. Chemistry Principle number 17. She's a classy lady. It's important to put ourselves in a woman's shoes on a date once in a while. Yes, heels really do suck. But you'll also learn the inherent assumptions and concerns they operate on. And did she reply? I told you that one of a woman's biggest early concerns while dating was for their safety, and that you needed to make them feel safe and comfortable. This is completely logical from her perspective, especially if you didn't know her before the date. Check your actions for creepiness or over-aggressiveness. There's a bonus tip for you. But this chemistry principle focuses on one of the next concerns they have after their safety, their reputation. Specifically, their reputation in regards to their propriety. In other words, she wants to be a proper, respectable woman, and not the girl sloppily making out at the bar. How can you ever influence that? It's pretty simple, actually. Build comfort and flirt outrageously while you're in public, but don't escalate matters physically until you're in private with her. This is best illustrated through the inner female monologue. What she'll think in public.
Why isn't he putting his arm around me or trying to kiss me? I want to get closer to him, but don't want to make the first move in public. Too many people are around.
What she'll think in private.
Finally! I've been thinking about this all night. Ooh, it feels naughty.
It's not that the women don't want the same things men do. They're just conditioned by society to be more ashamed of wanting it, especially in public. So imagine the interaction as a balloon. All the sexual tension that you've built up through flirting in public keeps getting blown into the balloon, but you're not releasing any of it until you're in private. At that point, the balloon is bursting with tension and likely to explode. This is a good thing, as the balloon is quickly to explode all over you. A bonus here is if you take advantage of the push-pull psychology. For instance, you pull her into the alley after dinner to finally kiss her, and let her a little bit of air out of the balloon, followed by pushing her away. By restraining yourself and not touching her at the bar, it's going to drive her wild and keep tensions high. Like all rules, this one is meant to be broken sometimes. Like if you're getting some serious bedroom eyes at dinner. Chapter 25, Chemistry Principle Number 18, Be Dangerous. The last time I shoplifted, I was 11, and it was a cookie from the local 7-Eleven. I can't remember the type of cookie, the weather, or who I was with, but I do remember one thing, the feeling of heart-pounding exhilaration when I concealed the cookie in my baggy jeans and walked outside. I'm not condoning shoplifting on your dates. The feeling of exhilaration is universal and is triggered when you engage in something that you're not supposed to be doing. It's a thrill. It gets your adrenaline pumping, and ultimately it's dangerous. The buzz of danger is a feeling you should embrace and take advantage of with your dates. By breaking small, inconsequential, or just rarely enforced rules or laws, you position yourself to be thrilling, exciting, nonconformist, bold, brash, badass, rebellious, confident, brave, daring, and apathetic to what people think about you. That list of adjectives basically amounts to you being a bad boy, but well within reasonable limits. People, not only women, are inherently attracted to elements of danger and excitement. I'm not condoning that you break laws on your dates. Examples: 1. Movie hopping. 2. Pretending it's your birthday at restaurants to get free food. 3. Smuggling alcohol into a movie or concert. 4. Sneaking in somewhere after hours. 5. Pulling her across a safe street intersection before you are allowed to walk via the lights. 6. Sneaking into a neighbor's pool. 7. Taking shortcuts through private property or buildings. 8. Climbing over a fence. 9. Sneaking a flask into a bar or club. 10. Taking sneaky pictures of other people in public. 11. Exploring a venue's VIP areas. 12. Skinny dipping. 13. Playing with fireworks safely. 14. Hide and seek in an abandoned building. 15. Sneaking into an alley for excessive PDA. What she'll think.
I can't believe we did that. This guy doesn't play by the rules. He does what he wants. So confident. He makes my heart pound faster, and I love it.
You would hope it doesn't have to be said, but you're committing a breaking and entering on a date. It's probably not the right tone to set. You also don't have to gauge how uptight or anxious your date gets, as more stressful types might combust from the pressure. You'll also want to stay away from actions that might make you seem questionable, like stealing as opposed to thrilling. Practice tip: be dangerous. Break a small, inconsequential, or just rarely enforced law. Notice how your heart is pounding, your hands are sweaty, and your voice is shaky. That's not a good look. So the more practice you get dealing with the physiological consequences, the more confident and badass you will appear when you do it on a date. Chapter 26, Chemistry Principle Number 19, Cultivate a Vacation Mindset. Let's take a moment here to think about one of the greatest pleasures in life. No, not socks right out of a dryer on a cold day, though that is pretty damn special. I'm talking about hotel sex. Why is hotel sex so amazing? There are a few reasons. First, though the partner and the act itself are familiar, the surroundings are new. Having sex in a new location is basically changing the act as much as possible without having a different partner. I don't think I have to get into why that's arousing. Second, novelty is a huge aphrodisiac and drives our need to experiment sexually. It's why we all have kinks and fetishes that we engage in to spice things up and keep our sex lives fresh. Third, and most importantly, hotel sex is amazing because a vacation mindset is created. Though the fact that hotel beds are almost always bigger than the one you have at home warrants an honorable mention. A vacation mindset is when you forget all the concerns of the drudgery of your daily life and just let go. People feel so removed from reality that the issues they would normally be worried about aren't even on their horizons. When people let go, they lose their inhibitions and are far more open and receptive to whatever is presented to them. There's a certain why not attitude, and experimentation comes along with it. She'll not only be more open to eating that dish, but anything you have to offer. Barring an actual vacation, how can you cultivate a vacation mindset? Examples. 1. Take her to parts of town she isn't familiar with. 2. Restrict access to her phone in a playful way. 3. Avoid serious or negative topics. 4. Don't bring up work. 5. Do a walking tour of your city. 6. Role play that you're on vacation. 7. Talk about vacations. 8. Do touristy things around town. 9. Stay at a motel. 10. Take lots of pictures. 11. Plan outings together. 12. Make an itinerary together. The main objective is really to create a happy atmosphere that will allow her to put her guard down and freely experience everything about you. Get her so wrapped up in the experience that she just wants to keep it going. So isolate what makes her guards go up, then skew as far away from them as possible. Because on vacation, there are no worries or fears. A final benefit here is that you'll be able to create a just the two of us foxhole friendship by virtue of experiencing it together. What she'll think, it's like being on a honeymoon when I'm with him. I never think about anything else, and he swept me off my feet. Chapter 27, Chemistry Principle Number 20. Communication is a fickle bitch. Most of us don't have problems with communicating in person. In fact, that's the exposure we seek and welcome. But when we're not face to face with the objects of our affection, different dynamics arise that can dramatically change people's perceptions. You can be the smoothest cat in the world on a date, but if you over-text for a few days, you can be relegated to an afterthought. Communication by phone or text is a tricky subject, fickle bitch, and there exists a very thin line between overdoing it and not demonstrating enough interest. I generally try not to give text advice because it's all extremely contextual, and there are too many what-if situations. But behold my 10 commandments that will at least keep you near that thin line. 1. You shall not send that final text. It feels great to have the last word in an exchange rather than tentatively waiting to see if she decided to reply to you. 2. You shall send texts that are not dependent on a response from her. 3. You shall not wait hours to reply just for the sake of it, but you may match the timing she uses. 4. You shall abide by the out loud test. You better be able to read your texts out loud to a friend without wanting to jump off a bridge. This includes punctuation and emoticons. 5. You shall text or call only with a purpose, namely logistics and arranging dates. Keep it short and end before it lags. 6. You shall propose specific times and locations instead of just asking if she's free, because it will shorten the conversation by at least 4 texts. 7. You shall make references to your past conversations and dates. Saying that something reminded you of her is a great icebreaker. 8. You shall keep your phone in your pocket during your dates. Check it in the bathroom only. 9. You shall follow up the morning after a date. Here's your formula. Great to meet you, plus funny sentence about a topic of conversation last night. 10. You shall only leave a voicemail if you have something important or specific to say or ask. Practice tip. Examine your text conversation with your friends. What percentage consists of just arranging logistics? And what percentage consists of actual conversation? I'm betting the vast majority is the former. Also, look at how you begin text conversations with your friends on different days. I'm betting that they are mostly started with funny interjections, personal to your relationship. Finally, look at the ratio of texts that you both send. I'm betting that it's relatively equal. Conclusion: you're just not my type. After reading this book, you'll never hear any variation of the above again. The friend zone will never be familiar to you. Sexual tension will be a given. First date conversations are important since many impressions are created at this time around. These impressions play a significant role in dictating the potential of a follow-up date. Therefore, within the mission to make certain another date is definite rather than probable, the person would need to be considered a good conversationalist, or at the minimum, have the ability to develop interesting subjects to go over. You will find some important elements to notice when attempting to create good conversation for that first date, which would come with practicing, getting great questions, and understanding the finished goal met for the date. With all of this clearly formatted within the individual's mind, obtaining the date to an excellent start wouldn't be impossible. The practice section would come with the person needing to develop great questions, which are appropriate for that occasion or date, and possess interesting corresponding solutions for that question's help with to be able to keep your conversation returning and forth. Practicing with buddies and family can help the person get good at making certain level of smoothness and flow from the conversation is stored through the subject being talked about. Then, your next phase to master would need the obvious understanding of the aim of the date, which would be to secure another date easily. To be able to do so, the person would need to create a thrilling time for the other party. That will help any decision for a second date be a simple one. Making certain a great time may be the priority, as individuals who have a great time on first dates may want to consider another one. There's even the problem of showing up confident when undertaking the conversation. The arrogance levels described can give another party an opportunity to be impressed, using the individual and, therefore, be keen to take a second date. So it's up to you to take control and plan the entire date with segmentation and backup options. You will lead the date through your segments. You will take care of the directions and not ask her to look up the address. You will provide a blanket, umbrella, or gloves just in case she needs them. You will deal with the bill, not necessarily paying, and address any issues that arise with the date itself. You will deal with the transportation. You will lead her through crowds. You will introduce her to the chef of the restaurant, I think you get it. If you lead, she will take notice and follow suit. Most importantly, she'll respect you and your capabilities, which can write a one-way ticket away from the friend zone. We've cut to the core of what really makes one person have chemistry with another, and how you can be that person. You've seen how to tailor your approach, mindset, actions, interactions, and interactions communication for maximum success and chemistry. Each and every one of my chemistry principles contains actionable steps that you can start today. So what are you waiting for? Bonus! Chemistry principle number 21. Avoid the dreaded creep label. We all have someone in mind when that word comes up. Women use this term liberally. You probably can't even articulate exactly why he's been stuck with that label, but you just know that he's turned off many a woman, and women will avoid him like the plague when going out. Let's analyze what women really mean when they label someone a creep, and make sure that you aren't embodying those traits. Being a so-called creep is mostly a function of two shortcomings. First, there's a genuine lack of self-awareness, where the creep simply does not realize that their actions can be perceived as too forward, awkward, or just plain threatening. As an illustration, someone who lacks self-awareness would suggest an abandoned warehouse on a first date, having no clue that it would frighten the hell out of his unsuspecting date. As hyperbolic as that would be for a first date, we can easily imagine someone making a joke about it and not realizing why it's frightening, can't we? The creep is likely forward in their sexual intent with women, but in a socially awkward manner, which is threatening to women as they can't discern exactly how serious the creep is being. Such forwardness is also uncomfortable because it's considered lewd or inappropriate in everyday conversations. Women also don't know how to deflect the creep because they don't know how he will react to normal social cues of rejection, which leads me to the next point. Second, they lack interpersonal intelligence to pick up on the subtle, and sometimes not, cues that women send to indicate their lack of comfort or interest. The creep just doesn't know how to take a hint. A woman can do everything short of saying no, and the creep will either dismiss it or not realize the intent behind her actions. And even if she says no, he might think she's joking or really saying yes. Sometimes it's an intentional lack of awareness or a disturbing sense of entitlement. Whichever the case, not being able to take no for an answer can be anywhere from annoying at best to giving off rape vibes at worst. Such persistence can be scary and turns an innocent and awkward creep into a dangerous one. So what does all this mean for you? If you're in debate about whether something might be creepy, it probably is. View things from the context of a woman who is smaller than you and wouldn't be able to overpower you physically. Learn to pick up social cues of disinterest, such as not responding to you, not questions you questions, trying to escape the conversation, or closed or avoidant body language and eye contact.